We hope for all it is a call to think. To succumb to blind anger brings inhumane suffering, and as we've seen, even death. Some have suggested a decreed day of mourning and shutting down of our programs and processes and classes. Others wish to express themselves by a renewed dedication to the academic preparation for a life of service to their fellow men. To many, such self-expression will depend upon prayerful preparation for examinations. We intend that each student shall decide for himself his own response. For those who must express themselves with work, classes will be scheduled as usual. For those who feel compelled through personal commitment to forego class attendance on Thursday, there shall be no penalty for such absence. For all of us, we trust Thursday may become a symbol of our mutual concern.
More than 1,000 students at North Texas State University in Denton marched 2 miles from the Student Center to the National Guard Armory in a dual protest against the war in Vietnam and the deaths of 4 Kent State youths. The protest was loud but peaceful.
The murders that took place at Kent State rest not solely on the National Guard of Ohio. The murderers also should be indicted as the current and present administration that continues to kill boys in Vietnam.
When it was all over, Denton police breathed a sigh of relief and everybody went home. This is Tommy Ayers for Channel 8 News in Denton.
Tomorrow, the students may, if they wish, have a memorial service at 11 o'clock. At this memorial service, the flag may be lowered from 11 until 2 o'clock. I'm sorry, from 11 until 1. That is a 2-hour period of time. And this apparently has been accepted by the student leaders, and I would like to commend this group for their objectivity and maturity in order to prevent violence on our campus.
How much impact does the demonstration such as this, as long as it's kept peaceful, have on the administration?
Well, certainly we like to recognize legitimate channels, and Student Congress is this legitimate channel. Student Congress has passed a resolution recommending certain things. Every recommendation which Student Congress passes certainly cannot be approved in toto.
Well, we don't. We've got some of the seeds fall on good ground, some fall on bad. That's what it says in the scripture. If it falls on bad, well, we can't help it. But the good one, why, we won't see them go forward.
What about some of the advantages of the ministerial license? Do you think some people write in and get the license just for its advantages, such as, say, tax or...
Well, they don't get any advantages. There's nothing to be gained by that. Now, they might make a play on that, but I never have told anybody they get clothes at half price. I never have told anybody that, well, I haven't told them anything about it. Sometimes they can go to an airline, maybe get a little deduction, but that's the only time, and I never have even tried that. Not necessary.
Well, you don't advocate
no, no, we do not.
According to Dr. J.D. Tommy, Tarrant County Democratic Chairman, the recount could last up to 4 days. He's hoping it'll be completed tomorrow. 2 teams of tabulators are checking each of the voting machines for at least one race, while some of the races require only certain machines to be checked. No certification has been made at this point in the races for Place 2 and Place 4 House seats, or the Precinct 2 County Commissioner's race. Also slated for recount is the party chairman's race in Hazlitt. Voters in Lake Worth have somewhat of a problem, but it's not being resolved by a recount. In that race for Democratic chairman for Precinct 113, the party has voided the outcome of the election since the number of votes cast exceeded by 15 votes the number of registered voters. As a youngster in Duval County, I remember the night someone broke into the county courthouse and stole all next year's election returns. So with all the problems that we have here in Tarrant County, politics is still not what some of us grew up with. Art Sinclair, Channel 8 News, Tarrant County.
Well, this has been one of the real challenges before heart surgeons for the last decade. We've been replacing all of the components of the heart, including the 4 valves, the conduction mechanism. We've replaced the partitions between the valves and between the chambers. We've done everything but replace the heart muscle or myocardium. We've even replaced the vessels or arteries that supply the heart muscle, the coronary arteries. But what we have not been able to do yet is to replace the myocardium or heart muscle. Some people have said that there's only one creator, and that's as far as we can go as surgeons, is to replace all of these other components. But the challenge is still there to replace the heart muscle.
Sponsors, under the rules, have the opportunity of appointing and withdrawing and reappointing. This for the reason that you mean as to a limitation on term? Well, nevertheless, we're submitting it to you as the most desirable thing that could possibly happen, is to have a limitation on term. I just cannot imagine any member of this board asking for 3 more years of this, but maybe that's because I'm... favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. You have a set of bylaws. I'll ask the executive committee to meet with us upstairs, Mr. Miller.
The recount began this morning early under the supervision of County Democratic Party Chairman J.D. Tommy, County Judge Howard Green, and District Judge Charles Murray. 2 pairs of tabulators are checking each of the voting machines for one race, while the other races require only certain machines to be checked. The tabulators say the job could end sometime tomorrow, or it might last as long as 4 days. The races being recounted are Place 2 and Place 4 for the State House seats, and Precinct 2 County Commissioner's race. Along with the major races, a recount is also being conducted in the Precinct Chairman's race in Hazlet. A Precinct Chairman for Precinct 113 in Lake Worth will be appointed later by the party, since the race produced 15 more votes than registered voters. Art Sinclair, Channel 8 News at the Tarrant County Courthouse.
What is your armband for?
My armband is to support America.
Do you feel the majority of SMU students are behind this rally?
No, there are obviously only around 500 kids here, and with an enrollment of over 8,000, it's obvious that the majority are not supporting this.
Do you feel that the majority, though, are silent and afraid to get involved and speak out?
Definitely.
Your armband is pro-administration in terms of carrying the war to a fulfillment?
Yes. Supporting the president and supporting America in general. These kids, in a way, have denounced America, and that's wrong.
Do you feel that most of the kids are actually patriotic but just afraid to speak up?
I think so. I really do. It's strange that they won't, but some just don't care.
The present bond proposal calls for a bond issue of $46,300,000. As you know, during the last month, or slightly over a month, the city has held a series of neighborhood meetings, which are still going on. Out of these neighborhood meetings have come some suggestions for additional projects, which might be included in the bond issue. At this point in time, it's too early to tell which ones of these will be included. The meetings aren't over. Suggestions are still being solicited and made by citizens in Fort Worth, and until all of these are in at the end of the meeting schedule, which will be the last part of this month, it would be too early to make any projections as to what changes might be made.
In this case, as in most cases involving this amount of money, some people begin to speculate. There's some speculation that it might run as high as $50 million, perhaps even more. If it were to run $50 million, what sort of effect would it have on the tax rate in Tarrant County or here in Fort Worth specifically?
Well, I can't answer your question offhand. We've, of course, computed very carefully what the estimated effect of the tax requirements would be for the $46,300,000 issue. And that is a 1 cent increase in the first year of the program and a 2 cent increase in the second year and thereafter.
The man had his coat wadded up under his arm, and I could see a stack of bills inside the coat. And so I searched him for a weapon and brought him back in and set him down. And just as I brought him back inside the bank building, the police arrived and they took over from there.
Was any money recovered from him?
Yes, they recovered $2,328.
And we scan the letters over pretty careful and look them over, just like another reporter here a while back. He sent in a letter, and we didn't send him his papers because we wanted to check him a little bit. So after checking him out, and he turned around and writes us a second letter. Said him and his son both wanted papers and was both qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after we sent the papers to them, and he comes back over, and when we had another meeting here at our other offices, and proceeded to give us a little write-up in their paper. It's a church paper. He said him and his son were qualified. Well, after the paper came out, it showed the picture of his 7-month-old son. So I said, well, I guess the son is as well qualified as he was.
It's legal, and thousands of ministerial credentials have been sent all over the nation. And with it, one becomes a full-fledged ordained minister. This is Jess Brown.